Hello students, this is our Tharaninthiran from SAR Academy. Today I am going to tell you about the next ages of literature. Because in the previous video we talked about the first two ages of literature. Prehistoric, Anglo-Saxon, Anglo-Norman. In hell they are Old English and Middle English period. So in this video we are going to talk about Renaissance period. What is the meaning of Renaissance? As everyone from English department knows, Renaissance, the literal meaning of Renaissance is rebirth or revival or regeneration. An enormous love on classical literature was born during this period. People started translating classical works. They focused more on the flourishment of art, literature and architecture and paintings. Okay, so they became aware during this period. In the previous period and all, they involved themselves, they engaged themselves much in the battles, right? But in this period, the case is different. They became aware and sensible. That's why this period got this name, okay? So the next period is Elizabethan period. The timeline of Elizabethan age is 1558 to 1603. Okay, so as everyone knows, Queen Elizabeth was the Virgin Queen of England. The so-called Virgin Queen of England was Queen Elizabeth I. And her father is King Henry VIII. Okay, so she did some changes, some improvements in the Church of England. Actually, the Church of England was the branch of Roman Catholicism. At first in England, there was only Roman Catholicism. Okay, there were no other religious sect and all in Christianity. Okay, but father of Queen Elizabeth, King Henry VIII, he established the Church of England for the selfish motive. Actually, the thing is, he wanted to marry another woman. He wanted divorce from his first wife. That's why he established the Church of England, because in that time, the divorce and remarriage and all never allowed. That's why he did that. It wasn't done for common people and all, okay? But Queen Elizabeth did this for common people. She introduced the Book of Common Prayer, okay? And the greatest writers, the prominent figures of the period were Shakespeare, Edmund Spenser, Philip Sidney, university wits from whom Shakespeare got or learnt some techniques. In fact, William Shakespeare discontinued his education. He learned some techniques to write plays from these university wits. Everyone knows that. Right? So the next age is Jacobean period. What is the meaning of Jacobean? In Latin, the word Jacobus means James. So King James I was ruling this period. He was a wise ruler, but due to some religious crisis, some people tried to kill him. They made a lot of plots just to kill him. But he was a wise person and he had a lot of spies all over the England. So whenever people had a chance to kill him or whenever people made plots against him, he found that from his spies and he escaped from that. No one succeeded in killing him. Okay. And the writers of the period were Ben Jonson, John Marston, Thomas Dekker, Thomas Heywood, John Ford, Philip Massinger. So definitely you would have heard about this person, Ben Jonson. He was the court poet of England during King James' rule. Ben Jonson, the prominent writer of the period is Ben Jonson. Definitely everyone heard of this person, right? He wrote a comedy, Alchemist, a beast fable Wolfone, everyone in his humor, everyone out of his humor, Cynthia Revels. And now you would have read about this Wolfone, right? How cunning this Moscow is. He's like a parasite, right? Don't forget to read Alchemist and Wolfone. They are important net point of view also. And other writers of the period were Philip Massinger, John Ford, John Marston, Thomas Dekker. Okay, so here in this period we have a controversy. We have a different kind of thing called war of theatres. poetomachia. Okay, war of theatres, poetomachia. What is the meaning of it? Actually, there were fight between two theatres. ஒன்றுக்குள்ள ஒன்று அடிச்சுக்கிட்டாங்க. இவங்க இங்கேருந்து ஒரு புக்கு போட்டு இவரை கிரிட்டிசைஸ் பண்ணுவாங்க, இவன் ஒரு புக்கு போட்டு இவனை கிரிட்டிசைஸ் பண்ணுவாங்க. So this thing happened during this period, and the people who involved in the wars of theatres were John Marston, Ben Jonson and Thomas Dekker. Don't forget to read this. Okay, and the next period is Caroline Age. Caroline, again, Carolus means Charles the First. So the ruler of the period was Charles I. Okay, and he was a kind of luxurious king. He wasn't much cared about the welfare of the people. That's why there were some opposers as well as supporters. The supporters of the king were known as cavaliers, and the opposers of the king were known as parliamentarians or roundheads. Okay, they always tried to overthrow Charles I. Okay, and also they didn't want to England to be ruled by the kings. Okay, and the head of parliamentarians was Oliver Cromwell, the Lord Protector of England. Okay, so he overthrew Charles I of England, and he started serving to England at the end of the period. Okay, and this event is known as English Civil War. And the writers of the period were both cavaliers and metaphysical poets. So everyone knows about these metaphysical poets, right? So they always tried to show off their intellectuality. They are from different disciplines. Whenever they want to write poems, they take comparisons from two dissimilar objects. They take comparisons from two dissimilar objects. Like what we read in Valediction Forbidding Morning by John Donne. In this poem, Valediction Forbidding Morning, John Donne compares the foot of the compass with the lovers. It's about a sweet parting. Okay, and according to John Donne, the lovers of the saints, and the love is a holy thing. Okay, so if you have chance, remember to read his poems. Okay, so he gives importance to theme of love. Not only him, but also all the metaphysical poets gave importance to love. Okay, and of course these cavalier poets also talked about love only, but their theme is carpe, seize the day, live the moment, enjoy each and every moment. This was their theme. So these people wrote these kind of poems. Okay, and the next period is Commonwealth period. Why was it named so? In this period, Oliver Cromwell was serving to England. For the first time, England became the Republican Commonwealth. That's why this period got this name. Okay, so here Oliver Cromwell is known as the Lord Protector of England. He saved people from the hands of Charles I, from the cruelty of Charles I. However, for the first time, England was in the hands of non-royal person. Okay, so Oliver Cromwell was a non-royal person, but a military person. He ruled England. So the writers, the prominent writers of the period were John Milton, John Bunyan, Thomas Browne, Anne Bradstreet and others. John Milton? So definitely you would have heard about this person, John Milton. He was also a Puritan poet, and he was a secretary to Oliver Cromwell. Of course, he was also an opposer of the king. Okay, and he always wrote hymns. Definitely we know that. He is known for two epic poems, Paradise Lost and Paradise Regained, and only prose work of John Milton is Areopagitica, right? So from these works you can understand that the people of the period were only advised to write poems that celebrate God, that glorify God. During this period, Puritanism was at its peak. It reached its heights. There were so many Puritan people. They followed strict moral principles. So during this period, people were not allowed to go to theatre and all. There were no longer theatre going habits. If anyone goes to theatre, they will be considered as the sinners. Okay, so pleasure giving things, enjoying the life will be considered as sin in this period. Okay, so from the words of John Milton and John Bunyan, we can understand the strict principles and the literary features of the period very well. Okay, so read it. Thank you.